It's a Friday, the 24th of March, 2023. As usual, today is Friday, and we bring to you a program we call Ubuntu Sports. We are live once again. You can join us on Facebook, you can join us on Twitter, and you can join us uh, on Facebook. Thank you very much for joining us. Today we are talking about the AFCON qualifiers concerning the under 23 and also the senior national team. But we'll also be talking about the qualifiers for the AFCON for other nations. We are live tonight. I'm joined by the Ubuntu team. I'm joined by Lawrence, and I'm also joined by USA-based Mr. Musanga. Let me start with you if you are hearing us from, I don't know if it's Washington or California. I don't know where you're joining us from, Mr. Musanga, but I know that you're in the US.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you. Thank you so much for the invite. It's been a long time. I'm glad to be back.
A big welcome back. Lawrence, good evening. Welcome to Winter Sports. Hi, Lawrence, can you hear me?
Good evening, Reuben, and hope you're having a great weekend. A great beginning to the weekend. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Thanks very much for that, Lawrence. But there's a lag before we can hear me and before I can hear you as well. But let's start the show because we are talking about the AFCON qualifiers, and let's start with the under 23. The team was wired, was butchered, lost by 2 goals to nil in Egypt. Tomorrow we are expecting a return match here in the Levy Stadium. But let me start with you, Mr. Msanga. How did you? I don't know if you watched that match. How did you receive the results?
No, I received the results. It was kind of disappointing. I was hoping for like at least a draw, because considering Egypt is a stronger team in terms of quality of the team, I thought the first half I knew it was, when I was checking on it, it says it was still 0-0. So I was hoping that if they can hold on in the second half, I think that's where they lost the game. I was trying to look for like a match report to see exactly what happened. I didn't see like a specific information on the match report, so I didn't get so much insight as to exactly what transpired. But the result was a little bit disappointing, considering that at youth levels like under 17, under 20 and under 23, I thought there should have been a consistent development across the board, to graduate some of those players from the under 17 and the under 20 into under 23, so they can have a consistent growth. And sometimes it's hard to track Zambian players. We see them, in the newspaper one or two times, and then they start fizzling up. We don't know what's going on. Is it just the infrastructure at the club levels, or is it just the lack of consistency among our players? So there is a lot of questions to be asked as to why we are still underperforming at youth levels when we should be using these as a springboard for the national team eventually.
Yeah, exactly. I watched the game. Really, we were defending from the first minute up to the end. I was really wondering why we went to Egypt just to go and defend. There was no coordination in the midfield. Just, I'm sure you watched the under 20 game, the under 17 games at the Africa Cup of Nations. The exact play, that's what was happening during that game, and we're wondering. I'm worried because the under 23 really determines or gives you some sign of where your national team is going. But what I saw, really, we have a lot to do if uh, we are going to build a national team from these guys. And tomorrow they'll be at Levi Manawasa. I don't know if Do you think we can overturn the results?
Yeah, if the tactics change, and then if the coaches can spend and the technical staff can spend time trying to see, how to break them on the flanks, because those guys can run in terms of the pace, the skill. It looks like our team is beaten at every tactical level. So that's my only concern that I have. We can move the ball forward because maybe it might be at home advantage, but if we are not careful, we can still give away the game. So 2-0 is not a big mountain to climb, but looking at the opposition we have and a very high technical team, we need to do a lot of work.
All right, let me cross over to Lawrence. Lawrence, we're talking about the performance of the under 23. Well, we lost to Egypt. Any hope of us qualifying? Can we overturn the results, beat them 3-0 here at Levi Manasa Stadium, and qualify to the AFCON without any doubt?
Well, I'm not sure if you're able to get me this time around.
Yeah, we can.
Sure. I think first and foremost, it's important to note that I think we've had challenges playing Arabs at all stages of at all levels of our teams, and it was not a shocker that we found it a very big challenge to play against them, especially playing away from home. But probably coming back home, it's possible we can beat them. Yeah, maybe a goal or something like that. If we manage to get a 2-0 win, would be a very, 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 very big achievement to go by. And talk of 3-0, I don't think we can reach that much, to be honest. I think it's high time we are very honest with ourselves and look at what we are able to do and all that. Football, unfortunately, does not follow patriotism. Football is not something that we can just wish for and things happen like that. It's unfortunate that we couldn't watch the game. I think that's where I didn't watch the game, but I know our team, our under 23, and how much we are going to struggle coming to play Egypt. I think I saw we managed to go 0-0 at halftime, and I was hoping that probably we can pull off a draw away from home. Then here it can be easier to beat them, a goal to nil or something like that. It becomes easier. But 3, it's a very big ask, I should say. It's a very, very, very big ask.
I'm happy that you didn't watch the game, because me, I watched the game. I followed the second half. I followed the proceedings. Lawrence were defending from the first minute. I really can't remember seeing Zambia shooting or trying at the goal. Though we didn't trouble the goalkeeper. Something that I got worried when I was watching, really, because these are the people that are going to take over from the current national team. Some of them actually were called the national team before they were asked to not to go for the national team duties, but go for the under 23. Mr. Abia, good evening. Welcome to Ubuntu Sports.
Thank you so much, Reuben and Lawrence and Mr. Musanga there. It's a lovely good evening to you all. It's Friday Sports again.
Sports again. We're talking about the loss for the under 23 national team. I know all of us were happy for the national team, but before we do that, we are talking about the under 23 loss. What do you think about that result? And do you think we can beat them tomorrow and qualify to the Africa Cup of Nations?
It's a big doubt, because when you lose with an Arab team away by a margin of 2-0, don't expect to score 3 at your own backyard without them scoring. This is the problem that we have been having when we are playing with the Northerners, Westerners, and Eastern teams. So I think it's a high time for us as under 23 to learn something from that game, because I watched that game. Zambia had 0 shot on target on 80 minutes.
Yeah.
And when you had 0 shot on
watching the right
target,
game. I agree. You
yes,
are watching the right game.
yeah. Then when you have 80 minutes without shooting at goal, what time are you going to get a goal? It's a very worrisome. So I don't think tomorrow, yes, we can beat them, maybe by a margin of 1-0, but it will not be enough for us to send ourselves to AFCON. I think it's a really doubt. Let's hope for the best for them, but for the sake of demoralizing them. But this game was done and dusted by Egypt. Egypt are through, my dear friend.
All right. There's one comment here in the comment section. It's coming from Chisoa Chilombe, saying the performance for the under-23 was pathetic, especially in the second half. Yeah, it will take hard work with a lot of seriousness if we're to overturn the tables. Yeah, I agree with you.
I think add the prayers to that list. Add the prayers as well.
I thought you'd say some charms.
Whichever way.
All right, let's turn to the senior national team. Today, actually, it's a good day for Zambia. We're not playing, but Ivory Coast was playing against Comoros, and Ivory Coast picked the maximum results, winning by 3-1. Is that the news that you wanted to hear, Lawrence?
I think it doesn't really matter so much. You know, at times, let us learn to do the dirty work ourselves, and like hoping for other teams to do what we're supposed to do. So the only thing that I know right now is we have to go to Lesotho, pick up a victory there. We have to win the game that follows as well, pick up a victory. And when we meet Ivory Coast, at least let us draw with them. That's all we need, and we are through. That is all we need. I think that is all I know. So I'm hoping for some other teams to come and do abracadabra for us and maybe help us in qualifying and do that. I think it's not going to work. It's high time we start doing the dirty work ourselves. And we had Ivory Coast we had Ivory Coast to beat ourselves, and we failed. So I don't know why we should expect the teams that we have been going through easily to do that job for us.
Mr. Abia, over to you.
Yeah, I think as for me, we have done a lot of mathematics previously. I don't know whether it was an equation, whether it was a statistics. I don't know what kind of mathematics we are doing, but this time around, I don't think we need those mathematics. We need to do our own work. We need to do our own favor. Once we got, it's good that we have 6 points right now. Then we need to go there to Lesotho and collect 3 points. All what is needed there in Lesotho is 3 points, no matter how numbers of goals we can score. But as for me, 3 points is the only thing that we can fight on. Then when we have 9 points, we are saying we have Comoros and Ivory Coast. We shouldn't let Ivory Coast to beat us at our home soil. We need to give them we need to beat them, in fact, to get 3 points, so that we are in a safe side. We don't want aggression. No, when we go to the Ivory Coast, beat what, and we don't want that mathematics. Let's do ourselves a favor. That's my comment right now.
Thanks. Let me welcome Mr. Skumbuso. Mr. Skumbuso, good evening. Welcome to Ubuntu Sports.
Hey, how's it, guys? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Mwatu
Actually,
bako.
to come through. We are looking for you so that you can tell us the update concerning Bafana. They were playing
Please.
today and drew 2-2
Reuben,
with
you gave me
Liberia.
an update from 2-0 up to 2-2 drawing. I don't know how
Yes,
that happened.
with Liberia.
No, it's football. I didn't watch the match, unfortunately. I had taken my son for training. I just got home and I found that we drew. Anyway, we lost. It's points lost on our side, in a nutshell. But starting with Zambia, I heard that you were defending from the onset there, from your game. It speaks to one thing I just wanted to add about our football in the South. Why I
No, Mr.
bring that up.
Skumbuso. Mr. Skumbuso, the one which was defending it was the under 23. Under 23 was.
Whatever the team is, I'm just talking football in general. It's not to talk bad about you as
Our,
Zambians.
our, our big boy is Wired Lesotho.
Yeah, I'm just talking in general in terms of our problems in the South.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that our football, we need to embrace our strengths, and as long as we continue as teams to go into these matches and not play to our strengths, which I think it also is informed by some of the coaches we get. I'll make an example of Sundowns. I'm a Chiefs fan in South Africa, but Sundowns plays the most beautiful football. But why they play the most beautiful football, they play to their strength, they play the right quality of players, they play to the right philosophy. So I'm saying in the South, we haven't identified or we haven't embraced what is good about us. And hence, you'll find ourselves going into these matches playing not to lose. And that's not what should be the case. We should embrace what we're good at, which is skill, being quick on the ball, and play to win. Not to get there and play. What is that? To play and defend from the onset. What are you defending? It's wrong approach to the game. It shouldn't be. You put yourself under pressure for no reason. And the other thing, from what I saw then with South Africa now, I was just watching on YouTube the highlights. We had the chances, but players were making wrong decisions. A really, really wrong decision. I saw Tau, it's on a counter, he gets a ball, he cuts in, there's a guy on the left. Pass the guy on the left, he's in a better position to finish. You don't do that. You have a ball, you are in the box. I always tell my son, this guy who plays in the States, they've done a good 1-2, one-on-one with the keeper. Just lob the ball. He wants to kill the keeper. Composure. So then you can see that there's a problem with players learning the right things. They don't watch the other great players like the Messis of this world, how you finish. You don't have to kill the goalkeeper. You're in the box. Just make things simple.
Mr. Skumbuzo, I think
Yes, sir.
Mr. Msang and Lawrence and Abia will agree with me that maybe we can make you the Bafana coach.
No, I'm just talking the general problem we have in Africa. I was watching our boys in Zambia there when they were beating the Seychelles. There's a boy who was wearing number 20 there. I just saw the highlights. That's the strength, for instance, in our South African side we have. He was just passing through those players like a hot knife on butter. Use what we have. Don't go to try and be something that we're not. We will never win. We will never win. So getting the coaches who will come there and try and employ some philosophy that doesn't work, we will never win. And that's what Southern Africa suffers from. In fact, most of the African teams, we go and get these foreign coaches, they come with a philosophy that's not going to work. We will never win. And
Thank
the
you very
next
much,
thing,
Mr. Skumbuzo.
we will keep on punching calculators like what the previous speaker was talking about. This is what we're doing in South Africa now.
Yeah, for you, you just have to punch them because in 2 games you've only picked 1 point and you are third on the log table. Mr. Msanga, let's bring it back to the Chipolopolo boys. I'm sure you watched the game, but let's start with that era from Tostan Savata, the goalkeeper.
Those are unforgivable errors in a match at that level. Everybody was trying to say, oh, every goalkeeper can make a mistake, but in those kind of situations, there's no room for error in terms of, you have the ball in your hand and you just let it go like that. It's a tough one, and part of it is his game time, his game time is lacking even at his club. So meaning that, his form is not at his top form. Why would the coach give him a nod against other players that were available? Maybe would have done a little bit better. I thought game time should be one of the determining factor for us consistency, because just like, if you're not practicing, and sharpening your knife every day, you cannot cut.
Lawrence, what do you make of that blunder by Tostan Sabata?
Well, I think let's just agree. I know we are trying to develop a new team, but I think over the years, I don't know what Kennedy Mwene has done to this country that we have really failed to replace him. Honestly speaking, we have really, really, really failed to replace Kennedy Mwene. And I think I was going through some comments yesterday during the match, and someone made mention to say it's never a Chipolopolo match without a Tostan Sabata blunder. And I think it's something that we're getting accustomed to. Somewhere, you know that Tostan Sabata is in goal. There's something that is just going to go weird. I don't know just how it happens. But all the same, it's good to see the teammates around him and push him forward and all that. And I think that is the team spirit that we kind of need in such moments when one makes an error, the others come around to encourage the other and pull the person up. And they really dug him out of the hole when it comes to the scores. Because imagine if the game went on and we lost by 1 goal to nil, let's say just by 1 goal to nil. I think the headline would have been Tostan Sabata and all that. But his teammates from the onset, when everything happened, you see Person Daka rushing to him, reassuring him that they're with him and they understand the error. It's time for the team to push on and all that. And the team did really push on. So it's good to see that kind of team spirit. But I think there is really need for some kind of really, really good goalkeeping training and in the Chipolopolo squad, because it's becoming something that is happening most of the times when it comes to Tostan Sabata. And honestly speaking, I think there are really few that can match up to him when it comes to experience at the national level. Maybe it's time to call in Lawrence and that's my namesake, by the way, to come and fill in and all that. Maybe it's time, but as things stand, I think you understand why the coach is pushing Tostan Sabata there.
Thanks. At this point, let me welcome Mr. Mkeleba. Mr. Mkeleba, good evening. Welcome to Ubuntu Sports for the first time.
Yeah, thank you so much. How are you, gentlemen? And there's no lady here.
No. Unfortunately, we don't have any lady.
Meanwhile, the Chipolopolo girls are the ones doing well than the Chipolopolo men. Anyway, just wanted to say congratulations to the game that I saw. And so what does that make us as Zambia? Where do we go? I'm not so much into following our football back home, and I don't know why. I think it's just that because I'm a Zambian, and Zambian don't like promoting their own local products.
But I'm sure you watched the game. Were you happy with the performance?
No, I didn't. I did not watch the game.
But you were happy with the results, I'm sure.
Of course, when we win, we talk so much positive about our players. But when we lose, which we always do, most like we're often.
No, but you're better than Mr. Skomboso. Mr. Skomboso, the Bafana keeps on losing. We've got Mr. Skomboso joining us from South Africa.
Oh yeah.
And his national team is really suffering.
No, South Africans, they have issues. They still It's just us in Africa, especially southern part of Africa. We have a lot at stake, and we need to just up the games. Yeah, we are trying, but there's so much drama, especially when it comes to recruitment, management. There's so much abuse. So, and there are no proper motivations from the players, and that's why you find that they don't give a damn even when they lose, and when they win, their glory just lasts for 24 hours. The next thing, they are out-motivated. They are demotivated by either speeches and hateful. You see, we always try to find faults, even when they have performed well. So as Zambians, we just need to, and of Southern African region, we need to learn to appreciate our brothers who are taking time, because it's not easy when we watch them playing. Put us in there, you will see 2 minutes we are fainting. So it's better we just appreciate that they are, one, keeping fit, they are healthy. Two, those players have to be taken good care of in terms of finances, their security, because their jobs, their age is catching up with them, and their career is quite short. So they need to play and be safe and be given proper assurances, so that when they retire, they have the nabakwata pakumo kuboko. Not when they retire, they become beggars. We see our former footballers, the way they are busy moving up and down, drinking. So we need, as a country, to have some funds that we are going to promote and encourage our players to really keep on winning most of the games, and also bring in experts to come and help us. Problem twakwataka, so we don't want to pay, and then we bring useless coaches that will just make us lose every day or each game. So we need to have a proper quality. We have the potential actually to lift the cup again as Zambia, but we just need political will, and just give our players moral support and material support, and be there for them.
Thank you for the contribution, Kelevai. We appreciate your coming to support us here in the sports show. Gents, as we are speaking right now, we've got a lot of games that are going on, and all these AFCON qualifiers. We've got Egypt taking on Malawi right now. The game has just started, and with Burkina Faso taking on Portugal. Equatorial Guinea is taking on Botswana. Malawi versus Gambia. Senegal versus Mozambique. Cameroon versus Namibia. Guinea versus Ethiopia. Tunisia versus Libya. But during the day, we had interesting results. We saw the likes of Nigeria losing at home to Guinea-Bissau. How do you make of that game, Mr. Msanga?
Of course, I think Guinea-Bissau is not a team to underrate. Just like I want to say the same thing to our boys when they go to play Malawi. I mean, they go to play Lesotho again on Sunday. Let's not go with that big-headedness. That's this is the team we beat 3-1 in Lusaka. I mean, in Dollar, we'll be able to just walk over into like a walk in the park, and that's where the Nigerians may have underrated, because I think Guinea-Bissau has given them an upset, and that's football. It is, there are times when such upset can happen. We saw in the World Cup a lot of upsets, and Morocco. Nobody believed that Morocco would be among the finalists. But there was, and they are in the in the semifinals. So it's just the name of the game. That's how it is. And hard luck for Nigeria. Hopefully they can do better next time, and never underestimate or underrate your opponent.
Yeah, you're right. Never underestimate any opponent. Actually, in the AFCON qualifiers, Mr. Abia, let me hear from you. Nigeria losing to Guinea-Bissau.
Yeah, it's normal in football. We are well, in a football game, we are expecting three results. You know, a win, a lose, or a draw. And unfortunately, our friends, the Super Eagles, they were not super at this time to the Guinea-Bissau. You know, we played Guinea-Bissau at Zambia before. We know the impact they can give. So I think it's just a word underrating the team. And looking at Nigeria also, they have their own problem, including usogoleri, wamene, mpaka kuma coaches. Yeah. So I think they have to make their house in order also for them to continue performing. You know, they have good players. They like Alex Iwobi and these other players. You know, they are super. Kelechi Henacho from Manchester City and is it Leicester City? Yes. So they have a lot of talented players, but you know, unity sometimes is also a key for you to have a success or to get a better results. But underrating is a big mistake in football that many teams have suffered during that time when you say, this game is just a walkover, it's ours. You find in the pitch, football is about 90 minutes. Things have changed. You realize Guinea-Bissau is up 2 goals or 1-0, then you want to fight back. It's a game over for Nigeria. Tough luck there for Nigeria, and wasanga waletea to the Guinea-Bissau. Thank you so much.
Thanks. In the game that is going on right now, Mali versus Gambia. Mali has just scored and they're leading by a goal to nil in just 4 minutes. Lawrence, do we expect more upset like the one we've seen today, concerning Guinea-Bissau and Nigeria, and also the South Africa game where South Africa was leading by 2 goals to nil, and then allowing 2 goals, and the game ended in a 2-2 draw?
Okay, I was watching the Nigeria game, and there is quite a lot of things that I learned from that game about the Nigerian team. First and foremost, I think they don't. The team seems to be star-studded when it comes to attacking players. When it comes to defense, I think the team is very, 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 very lacking behind. Now, to even make things worse, I saw a whole lot of potential, and I mean a whole lot of good talented players failing to combine with each other to come up with something. There are points in the game. If you watch the game, there are points where you see you see players even arguing in front of each other, feeling someone should have squared the ball to the next one, and so the other. But they thought maybe they should have. The other thought probably shooting was the best option, and when you look at the shot, it leaves so much to be desired. And these are things that I saw from the Nigerian team today. Now, what came out the most for me was the fact that I think the team is not united. I saw Osimhen raising his hands and yelling at his own players I think on a number of occasions in the match today, which shows a lot. It means that the team is failing to understand each other. Probably they are suffering from a lack of match cohesion together as a team. I think they really need a lot of time to play together as a team for them to understand each other. And honestly speaking, they are very far from it. They are individuals, good individuals, but not a good team as things stand. And these are things that I think the coach has to work on. And when you look at the South African game, again, I watched a little bit of the first half, and I kept on peeping on it in the second half, and I saw the coach make a lot of substitutions that did make sense to me. And I think that draw for South Africa is just the coaches making and all that. The moment the coach substituted a few players, then we saw Liberia coming back to life. And well, they scored and scored the equalizer in stoppage time. As things stand right now, Reuben, I can proudly say that I'm following proceedings that are happening in South Africa, and the media in South Africa is very much upset and agitated by the coach Brooks, who has that's Hugo Bruce, who has actually refused to conduct any post-match interview with the media, and everybody is just seated waiting for him. The media has also refused to disperse. They want to have a post-match interview with the coach. And currently, as what is coming from South Africa is that he has gone into hiding. It shows also that there is a lot that the coach has to defend, and I think he's not willing to defend, especially when it comes to his decisions, when it comes to substitutions. Now, starting from yesterday, we saw
Lawrence
quite
is
a number.
Lawrence, but he's allowed to send his assistant coach to go and speak. Remember?
Apparently, nobody has come from the technical team. Nobody from the South African technical team has showed up for an interview as things stand. That is as of 10 minutes ago when I was checking on the updates. So maybe maybe in the last couple of minutes things have changed, but I don't think so. That is the situation where it stands. Now, we look at the upsets that have characterized the Africa Cup of Nations qualifier starting from yesterday. I think it's possible. It's easy to see that there is no underdog right now in the African football. We have seen Cape Verde as well struggle at home today against Eswatini, and I mean, this is what is coming out of this qualifier so far. We need to see some sort of consistency, especially when it comes to the big guns in the African football. As well, yesterday I should make mention that actually Algeria inclusive scrapped out a win yesterday. I mean, this is where we are. Zambia as well. Let's say Zambia as well somehow managed to scrap out a win after conceding 4. This has been the story of the weekend so far. But I'm sure after the first round of matches that are being played yesterday, today, I think we expect to see some better results from the big guns starting from Sunday. I think in the second round of games, because I think a lot of names could have come down. The coaches would have put this and that in place. Remember, I think we kind of rushed to start playing our games because of time and all. Remember, traveling in Africa is all complicated, but some teams were playing actually. Some players were playing at their clubs as of Monday and Tuesday. They were playing, and you have to fly them on. And when Thursday games start, I think that also contributes. When you look at the teams that have got the most number of international players, they are the ones that are struggling the most.
Thanks. Let me cross over to Mr. Skombuso. Mr. Skombuso, are you happy that your rival enemies in Nigeria, the Super Eagles, have lost by goal to nil from Guinea-Bissau? And also, let's give us the latest concerning what is happening in South Africa concerning the draw against Liberia. How is the atmosphere in South Africa now?
As I said, I didn't watch the match, so there's very little I can say, except, as I said, from the chances that they created, they should have won the match in a way. Even if Liberia scored the 2 goals, for me, the chances I saw were not half chances. They were good chances for the team to score at least 3
But were
more
you
goals.
comforted that your rivals in Nigeria also lost?
No, not really. But I share Lawrence's sentiments about the fact that they don't have a team. This speaks more to the issue that Argentina faced in the World Cup before this one. They went into that World Cup divided. They had the players, but they didn't have the team. And as such, they couldn't rise to the occasion and be the force that they are capable of. And come to this World Cup, they were a team. And they showed that being a team, they can come up. So Nigeria has the players individually, yes. But the question, as he has put it, is that it's seemingly they don't have a team. And you can have individuals, but if you don't have a team, football will surprise you because there's no small team. If the team prepares well, then they'll win. Yeah, that's basically the issue.
All right. The other game that was played earlier on was Uganda versus Tanzania. Tanzania picking up the maximum points, beating Uganda by a goal to nil. Another interesting story coming from the East Africa. Samsanga, I've seen you smiling. Is it something that you expected?
I think this is the case of like the Southern African derbies and the East African derbies. They're always rivalries. So and I remember even in the COSAFA Cup, some few years back, we lost to Lesotho. And everybody was like, "Oh, Zambia is finished. Zambia is finished." It does happen in football. That's the name of the game.
Yeah.
We just have to know that. I think gone are the days when we used to beat Namibia, 7-0. Gone are the days, when we used to boast to say, we are the champions of Southern Africa and all that, because the game is now tactical, discipline. The tactics have changed. And if we don't change our own tactics and we live in the glories of the past, then the future is not very bright. So Tanzania beating Uganda, it's a headline news, but is it a surprise? I would say no. It's just the name of the game. That's how it goes. Maybe Uganda also are struggling to organize themselves. It's just like we're talking about Nigeria. They have highly talented players. Not so long ago, Uganda was in the AFCON. So they have a little bit more experience than the Taifa Stars. But doesn't mean that they are still the same team. Every team is going through reorganization, going back to the drawing boards, as we always do in Zambia, and it's just up to us to rally the team and make a team. No, we have good talented players, but we need a team that can bring results, and so does everybody else.
Thank you very much. Lawrence, let's bring it back to the Zambian game. There's some sentiments on the streets that actually, even if Zambia won, it was because of individual brilliance. Look at the first goal by Fashion Sakala. Individual brilliance. Look at the other goal that was scored by Lameck Banda. That was individual brilliance. And the team isn't yet coordinated. Is it what you saw as well? What's your comment over that?
Well, I think it's easier to even talk about this because the coach himself admitted to this fact. In his sentiments, he said there is a lot of things that the team has to work on. And remember, this is the first game they're playing under Avram Grant as the coach. So obviously, he's been with the team, especially the international players, for just about some 2 days, some 3 days, some 4 days, and all that. You don't expect them to understand each other and all that. I think it's a process that is going to come through. But a win is a win. Let's just give it to him. Be it individual. How many times has Messi scored individual brilliant goals and then we don't question how Barcelona is a team when he was at Barcelona? Or how many times have other superstars scored in all these other...
No, but Barcelona always plays. We used to play well, Lawrence. I dispute that. The Barcelona will dominate the match completely, whether Messi can score individually, but they will dominate. And football starts there.
What I'm trying to say, Skumbuzo, is that we are looking at a coach who has only had about 3, 4, 5 days with a team. He's a new coach, recently appointed. So you don't expect him to have maybe come up with a very efficient tactical way of setting up the team, because he's also learning the players firsthand for the first time this time around. He learned something obviously from this previous game, And there are some things that he needs to change. There are some things he needs to work out on. And of course, we have to depend on some individual brilliance once in a while. Thank God we have those brilliant players in the team. That is why they are there. That is why they are there. Let them produce such kind of magic, even when the team is stuck. Individual brilliance, whatever the case, it doesn't mean that it's only because of the same player that player that we have won the game. Remember, there are other players who are still defending that we don't concede more goals. There are other players who are supplying the same individual, the same players you're talking about to have the ball so that they can produce those moments of magic. So at the end of the day, it comes back to the team. I don't see why we should play around and say, no, it's because of individual brilliance, blah, 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 blah. There is no need for all that. Remember, there are some players that were manning the midfield to make sure that we had the balance. There are players who are playing at the back to ensure that we don't concede more goals. Remove them and leave that that player to do the individual brilliance alone. Will they do it? No.
Do you share the same sentiments, Samsung?
And I think part of the team is, every player brings in a good contribution to the team. That's the reason why they're picked. So to some degree, I wouldn't say everything should be 100% teamwork, because, like Fashion Sakala's goal, he used his strength, he used his power and his dribbling skills to produce that brilliance. Yeah, it counted. It's not like they will not count the goal just because it was an individual effort. It still counts. His contribution is for the team. His skills is part of the team. So overall, I would agree. Yeah, Lawrence is right. But individual brilliance, teamwork, we cannot separate the two. Of course, the instructions is to pass the ball when you're able, and we did see some of those errors where somebody should have passed the ball, but they ended up shooting, and that game would have been 5-0 if we counted our chances or more, or 5-1.
Another concern that is coming in is Mr. Abia. In that game, we didn't see Patson Daka in terms of shooting and being the striker that can hold the ball up front. Were you concerned with the performance of Patson Daka?
Yeah, I was concerned with the performance of Patson Daka, but not really, because for a striker to perform, he needs a sharp midfielders who can feed him the balls, and it was not the same with Zambia. The midfield was struggling, was struggling. We scored those 2 goals with Lameck Banda in a space of 3 or 4 minutes like that. And the entire minutes, we suffered to hold the ball in midfield. So how can you expect Patson Daka to perform while he's not being given the ball? So we need the midfielders who can feed Patson Daka balls. Just like you saw his effort against in Europe with his club when he scored against Chelsea, it was due to a teamwork from the other players. Then he got the ball, then he shot. So we are expecting the same. And I think the win against Zambia was contributed by Tosta Savata's error. Without that error, I don't know we could have got those results. After Tosta Savata's error, that's when the players now said, "Oh, wake up, guys! We are behind now. We need the 3 points." You see, that's when they put up those fights. Going to individual brilliance. Okay, if you don't have players like that, which players do you want to have so that they should, when they score, you don't give them individual brilliance remark? We need those players like Lameck Banda, Patson Daka, Fashion Sakala to show that they are playing football in European and they can show those talents when they are playing the team. So I think the entire team has a weakness: goalkeeping, midfielders, defenders, striking. So this is why the coach says there is a lot of work for this team that needs to be done. So Yes, they are learning from the new coach, and the new coach is also learning from the players. So I think going forward, Zambia will be a different team because right now football is really changing. It started with us, Zambia, in 2012. We won AFCON without European-based players. You know, Egypt defended AFCON 3 times and also failed to qualify 3 times to AFCON. So this is really happening in Africa here. It's not a matter of doubt. I think we can do better going forward.
Thanks. Let me cross over to Mr. Skomboso. Mr. Skomboso, you'll be playing Liberia next week, Tuesday, 18 hours, and in Liberia. What next for Bafana Bafana? Because now the games that are remaining, uh, just remaining with 3 games, and you need to pick up maximum points for you to qualify to the AFCON. You've only picked up a point in 2 games. What next now?
What's next is for Hugo Bruce. Anyway, to come to Mr. Abia first before I talk. I like what he said that Zambia won with local players. That speaks to the question of saying when the coach says there's a lot of work to be done. I think at times coaches are misleading people. If you are a national team coach, you never have time. So more especially in Africa, you have players arriving in trips and drabs. So there is never enough time. You'll have 2-3 days. So what can a national team coach do in 2 and 3 days? It's not like a coach who has a club or who's coaching a club. So that in itself then impacts negatively in whatever he has to do. Hence, I'm not for foreign coaches, and I'm not for. I'm saying, for instance, if you look at how Zambia performed in that AFCON they won, it was because the players were closer. They were playing in the league, all of them. But now, if you're going to have players coming from all over, arriving not at the same time, it will impact on how the national team plays. And then with South Africa, as I said, Bruce has his hands. He had said that if he doesn't qualify, he has to go. The message is as clear as that. So if he's left with 3 games, he needs to win them and not let us punch calculators. So he needs to go and win, and let's hope the other teams then lose. But it's as simple as that. He needs the 3 points to make us
For
get
now,
10 points.
for now, you just need to punch calculators. You have to pick up
No,
maximum.
we
You have
don't,
to
we
win
don't
there.
want to punch.
Then you expect the other games the guys to lose. When
We
you
don't want
come
to
at
punch
home, at least
calculators. Well, all I'm saying is for him, his mandate now is to go and get the other 9 points and then let the other situation take care of itself. He cannot be saying no, what not. He needs to go and win the other games. If he can't, then he needs to go. Yes, sir.
Skumbo, I think much of the complaints that are coming in from South African fans is that probably the coach picked majority of his players from Mamelodi Sundowns. Is that a bad thing to you? How you
No,
look at it?
it's not a bad thing at all. Barca dominated. Spain won the 2 trophies playing with basically a Barca and Madrid team. Actually, it was Barca players and Madrid. It would be 2 or so players. That's not a bad thing because then that makes it makes the job of the coach, national team coach, easier from a tactical approach and preparation because you have players that know each other, players that play together. There's cohesion amongst those players. As I was making the point that Avram Grant can talk all he likes about, he needs time and all that. He doesn't have time. He will never have time. He's a national team coach. You have players who are going to arrive and you're going to have 2 days. What are you going to do in 2 days? He's fool's goals. The point is he will never have time. So it's better when you have a coach in the situation of Bruce, where he had 7 or so players to pick from Mamelodi Sundowns. They are playing well. They play to their strength. So it should have maybe based his game tactically around how Sundowns are playing. Then it would have made things easier for him. But as I said, I still emphasize I'm still going to watch the match, but from the From the highlights I saw, South Africa had enough chances to win the match. Even if those guys had scored the goals, the first half chances they had, they should have scored much more goals and won the match. So, to a certain extent, the players must also take the blame because they created the opportunities. They didn't take them.
Thanks, Mr. Skumbuso. Just to the Bafana, tell them when going to Liberia, let them pass through Zambia, get the winning spirit as they go over to Liberia. And your prediction in that
just
game?
like the ladies passed through with the trophy when they were coming back from Morocco.
Of course, Lawrence. What are you expecting for the Sunday game?
Well, the Sunday game is going to be a little bit tougher, especially being away from home. Though I still think that
it's a neutral ground.
Yeah, it's a neutral ground. Whichever way, it's easier to play when you have got the whole stadium cheering you, and in the neutral ground, obviously there will be very few spectators. Remember, in Africa, I think fans don't usually travel to watch away fixtures and all that, and they are going to miss the fans. I think kudos to the coach again. Avram Grant made mention of the importance of the fans and the role they played in the 3-1 win. Backing the team and cheering the team on, but the team is not going to have fans this time around. They will have probably an empty stadium and all. I see a tough match, of course, and obviously this is our chance to kind of move an inch closer to qualifying for the Africa Cup of Nations, obviously, but it's going to be a tough one. I'm not sure if the captain Lubambo Msonda is okay now. I'm not sure, but it would be a great boost if he was back in line to start for the Chipolopolo, and then we see how we can work around the goalkeeping department, especially needs a lot of attention, I should say. Obviously, Avram Grant learned the hard way yesterday, and he should be looking into that because it's what has been happening for quite some time. Other than that, I think we should have some little bit of comfort going forward. Of course, this time around, I expect Avram Grant to try and emphasize from the white players to try by all means to bring Patson Daka into play because I think yesterday's game we saw that he was very quiet, I should say. And not because he was missing chances or what, but he didn't get most of the he didn't get good chances for us to even hear about him. So I hope the white players this time around can try to play him in, unlike what we were seeing. The white players are the ones trying to shoot again, cut inside and shoot, and it's what has been happening anyway. So I think those are the nitty-gritties of the technicalities that need to be worked on. Other than that, I think we managed to contain the Lesotho team, and we should do that again.
All right, we can confirm that Lubambo Msonda has traveled with the team, but we're not yet certain if he's fit to feature on Sunday. Mr. Msangu, how do you expect the Sunday game? We're playing in a neutral stadium in South Africa. I'm sure Mr. Skumbuso, instead of, as you are waiting for Tuesday game to watch South Africa, you can go and support the Chipolopolo. We're not so sure yet which stadium they'll use. I should just suspect that it should be the FNB stadium.
Oh, Chipolopolo are coming down.
Yes, they're coming. They're actually in South Africa today because immediately after the game, they traveled to South Africa.
Okay, it's a shorter distance. I think it should work in their favor. Avram will have enough time.
Yeah, but you can also watch some good football by the Chipolopolo, and you can cheer us as you are waiting for Tuesday to play Liberia.
Is it? Are you sure that Avram can deliver some good football?
Of course. Better than Hugo Loris.
Hugo Bruce.
Hugo Bruce, sorry. Bruce, yes.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But
All right.
yeah.
Samsung, I wanted to hear your prediction for the Sunday game, and before I take it to Abia and Mr. Mkaleva, before we wrap it up. Seems Samsung has got a challenge there. Mr. Abia, are you there?
Yes, I'm there, but I don't know whether you can hear me because there is a big rainfall here in Pata.
Yeah, we can hear you. Even if you've got the second Freddy there, you can go ahead.
All right. I think for Sunday's game, yeah, we have to take it seriously to be in our favor. Otherwise, my prediction may go to Zambia 2 and Lesotho 1. But any reckless decision, any reckless decision in the pitch, it can lead us into a draw affair, which cannot be a good result. But I'll just say Zambia 2, Lesotho 1. And my encouragement to my fellow soccer fans, please, errors are common in football. When the player made an error, let's just accept and encourage that player to move on and work on those errors. When you're not making an
Reuben.
error in the pitch, you cannot learn. So the players, they learn through those mistakes. So mistakes has been there. You know, even Kenneth Mwene, when he was first called up for national duty, he made a lot of errors. You remember in 2004 against Tunisia. You can also even remember when we were playing Guinea-Bissau, he made some errors. Even against was Sudan, he also made some errors. So it's common for players like Tostan Sabata. Is new in the goalkeeping department right now. So it will take time for him to adapt. So I don't think we shouldn't blame him so much. Let's just wish him for the better. Because right now we are expecting Danny Munyao, Lameck Banda to do better, but there is no competition in goalkeeping right now. So let's just praise our players, encourage them to continue pushing and going forward. Maybe we can see a better result. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Kelevai, Zambia will be playing against Lesotho on Sunday. So I wanted to hear what are your expectations and what is your prediction? How do you see the game ending?
They say once beaten, twice shy. So the Lesotho will be very careful, and they will try by all means to defeat Zambians. If Zambians are going to hold their positions and not making those few avoidable errors, they actually will continue. They'll actually win. They'll carry the day. But as you have already said, that in football, you don't know what is going to happen. That's why it is so entertaining, because you think you know it all. You think you are the professionals, you are the best, and then suddenly, boom, you are beaten. That is what makes people pay for football. So we don't have to sit back and relax and continue complaining. Definitely our Zambian guys, they will try their best, but remember that the underdogs these days, especially 2023 and beyond, they are surprising the world. You saw what happened during the World Cup. Who knew that Morocco would even reach that far? They were the underdogs, but look at how they performed. So we just have to cross our fingers and hope that our boys deliver, and wishing our brothers also from South Africa to learn from their mistakes and improve on their performance. Otherwise, we are here to watch. We shall continue watching, but Zambia probably they will. My prediction will be that another 3 goals will be scored. So we'll just wait and see. This team is a good team to deliver or to even reach the finals. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelebai. Lawrence, you can wrap it up for us. My director is saying the time is up, so you can just wrap it up for us.
Okay.
Nanga mutavira kuti mulebutukira kuisa. Time is up. Wakaka. It's a Friday. Time is up. Time is up. You can even play music after the program. Tuone ngati time is aenda kuti.
Wow. Nami I'm surprised. Time is up. Yakagenda kuti time.
Or just play after the program. Go to the live show and continue showing some of the games that were played.
Yeah, the director is getting it. Okay. Over to you, Lawrence.
Reuben, first and foremost, going through the games that are happening right now, we have Senegal currently demolishing Mozambique by 4-0. This is just in the 44th minute. We also have Equatorial Guinea leading Botswana by 1-0. So is Mali leading Gambia, also same score as Egypt is also leading Malawi by 1-0. Then Burkina Faso and Togo are currently at 0-0. Again, this is the Africa Cup of Nations, the 2024 qualifying matches, and well, a lot of things are going outside the expectations for a lot of teams, and it's why we watch football anyway. But all the same, we can speak of a lot of things that are happening concerning the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers, and I think it's important I make mention that the South African coach Brooks managed to show up for a presser, and apparently tried to say anything concerning the match, and left the presser just like that. So he didn't give his views on the match. He didn't give his views on anything concerning the match. Other than that, he decided to show up because there was so much pressure from the media, and that's all he did. Reuben, you can take it up.
Thanks very much. Thank you, Abia, Kelebai, Skumbuso, Sang and Lawrence for coming through and have this show. It was a great show, and this is where we end this week's Ubuntu Sports. Thank you very much for joining us. See you next week, same time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.